Hey everybody, Steve Wiest here, and I wanted to talk today about an amazing thing that has happened. 10 years since my recording project called Concerto for Folded Space came out. What? 10 years? How about that? Well, in celebration of that project, which I'm inordinately proud of, I'd like to unpack it a bit and tell you what it's all about. So I decided that I would write a project that had no limits. Just write whatever I felt, write to my heart's desire, and have fun. So first of all, I had to put together an ensemble of good friends and people that I knew would be fun. Thought a very interesting texture would be to write for a flute choir, and my good friend Daniel Pardo just happened to be a virtuoso flautist, one of the best flute players I've ever heard. And he's also quite a clever engineer, great talent in that sonic realm as well. So he and I, in the early stages of this project, put it all together. And I overtracked, double-tracked, overdubbed him multiple times to create a flute choir that is tremendous. Along with the flute choir, I added a trombone choir. Of course, flutes and trombones go together like peanut butter and jelly or something. Vegemite? I don't know. Consisted of a group of students, former students of mine, and from the University of North Texas. And they had their own group called the Maniacal Four. I do believe it's still around and still doing great. And that's Carl Lundgren, Alex Dubroff, Nick Laufer, and Matt Jefferson are in that quartet. And I added another stellar bass trombonist along with Matt Jefferson, another great trombonist, John Gower, all of which had been in one of my 1 o'clock bands that I directed at the University of North Texas. So we had flute choir, trombone choir, and at the base of it all was a slamming, incredible rock quartet that I put together. Stockton Helbing, my dear friend, on drums. Also had Braylon Lacey, one of the best bass players I've ever heard. And then two unbelievable guitarists, my dear friends, all of them are. Ryan Davison on guitar, award-winning guitarist from Canada, and also on the 1 o'clock recording that was nominated for a Grammy. He was featured on my composition, Ice 9. And another great guitarist from the DFW area down there in Texas and University of North Texas, Noel Johnston, one of the greats. So man, put this all together and we had a nifty little ensemble with lots of textures that were possible to write for. But there's more. I also added some amazing guest artists. My hero and mentor, Jimmy Pankow from the supergroup Chicago, trombonist extraordinaire and writer, was gracious enough to join me on 2 pieces on this recording. Bob Mintzer, one of my great friends, one of the great composers, arrangers, and woodwind artists on the planet, plays tenor, sax, and bass clarinet by request. I said, Bob, you gotta play some of that bass clarinet stuff. And he does, and just destroys it. It's so good. Also a wonderful piano player in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Arlington Jones, can play all styles, modern jazz, older jazz, swing, straight eighth, gospel. He does it all. Very talented piano player. He's on the album. An interesting thing about when Jimmy got on board, I went to a Chicago concert and I was backstage with the guys, and a couple of them overheard me and Jimmy talking about the project, and they said, hey, what about us? Can we play on it? And I said, oh hell yeah. So they are. 2 other guys from Chicago, Keith Howland, amazing guitar virtuoso. What a sound. He's got a sound that Steve Lukather says, that's good. Amazing guitarist. And one of the best vocalists I've ever heard, Jason Sheff, also signed on. So there's what a cast of guest artists. And that is the ensemble. How about the music? How about the music in the project? Well, I only had a vague idea of what I wanted to write about. I knew that I wanted to write something science fiction, and I was very inspired by a recent movie at that time, Interstellar, on so many levels. But one of the things it talks about and popularizes is the amazing idea of an Einsteinian light speed limit workaround called folding space. And I demonstrate that on the album cover itself by taking, very much like they do in Interstellar, by taking 2 points. Here, I'll do it on the album itself. So when you open up the album, there's 2 points. One is here, a little star sunlight. Over here is another one. The distance between those two, if you went at the regular speed of light, it'd take a long time. You'd be very, very, very old by the time you got there, and you'd have to go into suspended animation. But what about if there was a workaround? And the workaround is, and this would take a whole lot of energy and technology that's a little bit beyond what we have right now, but you could take this and fold it like that. Oh, look how close they are now. Wouldn't take much time at all. So folding space, that's the concept. And so I thought, let's write a concerto for folded space, because that's a cool and interesting concept. Thus was born the title. And I was inspired also at the time to write a programmatic story, because I love to write programmatically, meaning if I've got a color or a title or something like that to write a piece of music, it really focuses me. Like if somebody said, man, write something called Golden Retrievers in Space. Oh, all right. Gives me an idea of what to focus on, kind of. But programmatically is very fun. It's very cool. And I was inspired by my pal, aforementioned great drummer and writer in his own right. 2 different ways to say right. Right? Stockton Helbing. And he had an album that came out called Battle Stations and Escape Plans. And he wrote a very cool novella to go with it, a cool booklet that was a story. It's like a book. And I thought, man, I want to do that too. So I came up with a book at the time that was called The Dover Stone, and I was going to just write a novella. Bam! I had so much fun, it came in at just under 300 pages. What? A real novel, a book. And I had a blast writing it, and there's 10 short stories that are all interrelated, and those were the titles for the 10 tracks on the album. So it's kind of like a soundtrack in search of a movie, John Otto might say. And that's what the whole project is about. So I'm quickly going to give you one sentence to describe each story in the book, because I want you to buy it. That's the hidden agenda of this little video vignette. Here we go then. I'm going to go through each story, and I've prepared a little one-sentence synopsis so we can zip through this thing quickly. All right, it starts out with Prelude and String Theory is the first track on the album. And that aligns with the book in that it's an overview, kind of a trailer, about our very long-standing, I posit, relationship with extraterrestrials. Kind of a who's who history of us and aliens, which has fascinated me my whole life. String theory takes place in the Middle Ages, in the 13th century, the time of Henry II and Richard Lionheart and flying buttresses, things like that. And it's also a time that I say aliens lived among us, except we called them fairies and trolls and whatnot. Could be, maybe even dragons. Then we go on to E-Bebop, the second track, and that is simply the Roswell incident, for those of you that are into ufology, but from the alien perspective. What was it like to those guys that crashed there? I'm sorry, it was not a weather balloon. It was an alien ship that crashed there, I believe. What would it be like for the guys flying that thing, especially the one that was rumored to be captured? That's E.B. Bop. The Neither Zone is a story about a bunch of 12-year-old Cub Scouts in Missouri, or as my relatives used to say, Missouri, that have a run-in with ETs, extraterrestrials. What happens there? It's on a camp out. The next one is Me or You. Clever play on words, but it has to do with Enrico Fermi and his amazing paradox. For Me or You is a love story that answers the Fermi paradox of where is everybody? You know, if the Milky Way is so old, older than Earth, you know, we're one of the youngsters in the neighborhood, why aren't there just aliens everywhere? That's the Fermi paradox. In that story, we get the answer. MJ-12 at Noon is the next one, and that has to do with a legendary government committee supposedly put together at the time of Harry Truman, right after Roswell, and a group of individuals that are studying and a part of the whole UFO situation. And in this story, MJ-12 at Noon takes place in our future. They are exposed by the then president. And boy, do they know a lot of stuff. So yeah, the next one is called Queen Ian. And Queen is an AI. It's an acronym for a certain type of AI, quantum computer in our near future. And this is when AI becomes ubiquitous, and they call it the singularity, pretty much self-aware. And the inventor of said network, which sounds like Ian McKellen, that's why it's Queen Ian. But anyway, the inventor of said network also paves the way for the concept, in reality, of folding space. Oh, the plot thickens, doesn't it? Man, I want to buy this book. All right, number 7 out of 10, Zunian Reunion. This is a story about the amazing interdimensional race called Urisk Zunis. They returned to Earth. They've been gone for a while. These folks are great, man. They're hilarious. They're hedonistic. They're all about drinking and having sex. And yeah, they dig jazz a lot. The Urisk Zuni. And they come to Earth and have a storytelling competition. Above all else, they love telling a good story. Wow, Zunian Reunion. Check that one out. 8, The Flutes of Glastonbury. Far into our future, around 2114, there's a thing called the 100-Year Quantum Wars. We're folding space and zipping around the galaxy and colonizing and doing all kinds of fun stuff. And then these murderous aliens start showing up. So we start fighting them. And nobody's better at this than a certain Captain Al Maddox. Just an amazing murderer of aliens during this war. And he wants to get that under control. He wants to be a nicer guy. He's getting kind of out of control. So he goes to a Earth colony called Glastonbury to get the help of a legendary beastie on that planet known as the Flutes. And have to read that and see what happens. It's kind of cool. Number 9, Step Aside. This is the story of the great heroine, as in female hero, not the opium-based products. Her name is Erin Hart, and it's all about the surprise conquering of the Earth. What? By a horrible race of carnivorous reptilian folk called the Baradian. Oh boy, that doesn't sound good. And the final story, number 10, Evol. Looks like the word evil. Evol. Might be the same thing. Interesting. It's around 2230 in our future. And there's one long-range stringer ship. That's what I call these ships that use this folding space idea, string theory. It was on a mission to our neighbor galaxy, which is called Cantus Major, which someday might run into the Milky Way. So the folks that know these things theorize. So in a way, that's way off. No need to worry. But therefore, this stringer ship wasn't around when the Baradians conquered Earth, so they got away and they didn't even know about it. It's a blackout when you fold space in my book, so they had no communication. They didn't know what was going on back on Earth. But they do find in Cantus Major an entity who calls himself evil. Could this entity somehow save the day? Yeah, you're going to have to read the book. And it's a very cool story. And each one of these is represented in the recording by the music that I wrote with a great group of people, of which we spoke earlier. So where can you get this stuff? Oh boy, you can get it right at my website. Here it comes, steve-weist.com. You can get a hard copy of the book. You can get a hard copy of the CD. What do they look like? Here's the CD. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? And the booklet is all about the original story that I call the Dover Stone, which is now changed to Concerto for Folded Space, the same as the CD. So you can get the book. Look, here it is. Look at that. That's a quality book right there. And there it is. Look at that cool cover. Wonder what that red object is there. I don't know. You'll have to read it, find out. But it's all in there. And for limited time only, because I'm going to rewrite this. It's going to go through a second edition. But in the meantime, I've got about 10 or 15 of these laying around. And I will sign one and send it to you with an autographed CD for the unbelievably low price of $10. What? I'm giving it away. So go to steve-weist.com and get the digital album, get the hard copy, get the book. Have some fun. Check it out. Concerto for Folded Space has been unpacked.